And in my experience, when I hear about people talking about digital transformation, they actually mean digital marketing. So they mean, just beef up a little bit of our newsletter capability, maybe create some sort of adaptive interfaces on the website so that we can present some sort of tailored and personal branded experience, which are obviously all good things. They all mean when actually they are needed, but they are definitely not what I mean for digital transformation. When I talk about digital transformation, I actually mean business transformation. I mean embracing digital as a whole and not just digital marketing. And obviously digital business transformation is very difficult because it changes the business at its core. It's not just about a new tool or a new way to connect with the customer, but it's a different revenue streams, different saving streams, and again, really completely different business models that the company has to adapt. And obviously there are some obstacles around this path. And I think to mention the most important and key one to overcome is culture. Because in my experience, even the best laid out plans can really fail miserably if they're not supported by the right culture. And by right culture, I mean a culture that fosters innovation, that fosters change, that embraces this digital disruption as an opportunity instead of just a threat, because obviously it is a threat. And Acer, for example, is one of the companies that is hit very hard by this. But together with being a threat is also a great opportunity of renewal for the company, for the core business. But this has to be embraced broadly as a cultural change. And to be more specific about what I mean for cultural change, I just laid out here a few concepts. So from just thinking about digital strategy into thinking more broadly, as I already mentioned, as a business strategy. Instead of thinking about the digital team, which I believe will disappear in all mature companies that we really have pivoted toward digital. I think I will be jobless in a few years, hopefully, because it really doesn't make any sense to have a head of digital in a company that is truly digital. No, so the digital team idea of having some sort of digital IT team which is separated from the rest of the IT, the digital marketing team which is separated from the rest of marketing, is something that is extremely useful and good at the beginning to pivot, to make change happen. But then the ultimate goal should be to obviously percolate horizontally digital across the whole company. Also to avoid that kind of sort of cool kid syndrome of being the cool team. This is especially true for marketers. Digital marketers are often seen as the cool guys in the cool open space with the nice colorful tables. They do things on social media. But then, who knows what's the business impact of all that. So this is absolutely to avoid, because obviously it does not grow a culture within the broader company of change and digital embracement. So we need to shift from this view into a view of completely integrated teams where this relationship with digital within the company is expressed in an horizontal way. And this also means that we have to shift from siloed owners of pieces of customer experience. This, again, is especially true for marketers, where we tend to have the CRM owner that owns only the post-purchase experience, the acquisition manager that owns only the generating traffic to acquire new customers. These fragmented views of the customer journey no longer work. We need to have more integrated owners of the whole customer experience. So from awareness down to loyalty, everyone within the marketing community, and then obviously the broader company should feel responsible and accountable for managing that. And this obviously calls for a different mindset, from a linear, sequential way of thinking, which goes back to the first slide I showed you about that kind of linear purchase journey, which is not reflecting the reality. We need to shift from that way of thinking into a more concurrent and, I would say, multitasking view of how customers relate with us. And finally, I think that we need, especially for digital, to shift away from a mentality of looking what worked in the past and try to replicate that just in a digital way with a little bit of digital flavor, because that most likely won't work. And especially we should avoid that kind of sort of personal opinions that sometimes are within the company, where just because some colleagues know how to use Facebook and Twitter, this obviously doesn't make them some sort of social media marketing experts. So this is obviously a problem, because I think this is, in a way, it's a sort of parallel with the issue that I know in the IT community is discussed about, bring your own device in the office and all the risks that this has. And I see a similar parallelism with marketing because, obviously everybody within the marketing computer, even as personal users, use their own Facebook account, their own Twitter account. And obviously they tend to feel that, just because they use it as consumers, as end users, then it automatically, translates a sort of, wisdom on how to use that for marketing purposes. This is definitely not the case. And the good news is actually that as marketers, we now have huge amount of data at our disposal to test and control everything we do. So compared to the era when we were just doing like TV advertisements and radio commercials that had basically no ROI calculation, no real ROI calculation possible, now we can calculate everything. So we should, and that should inform our future decisions. Not again opinions, not history, but actually hard data. And here I think the role of the CAO is definitely key because not only the technology is providing the platform for all this change to actually happen, but it's also a powerful ally for marketers to actually foster and drive this change in terms of way of working, in terms of building cross-functional teams within the whole company. So I think there is a sort of lead by example role that can be played here very well. And to add more on, how also the relationship between the CMO and the CIO, I see, at least from my perspective, changing, is that both roles are now becoming more and more accountable within the C-suite. Because you see, basically, CMOs are asked to step up a little bit and not just market the products and the services that the company is building, but are actually asked to contribute to product development. Because they have the market knowledge, they have the consumer insights that allow them to actually tell the core business what customers need, what consumers are looking for, and in which forms they want to consume the company's products. And I recently met the BMW CMO at an event last week, and curiously he told me that the way BMW managed all this transformation was by bringing marketing at the very beginning of the product creation cycle. So obviously BMW is a car manufacturer, is obviously very much focused on product business unit in a way very similar to what Acer is. So the driving force of the company is those who create the product. And usually they created the product and then they gave it to the marketers once it was already finished and said, okay, just sell it, okay? Which is exactly what happens today at Acer. And the problem with this is that obviously you're not iterating, you're not taking into account all the consumer insights and the knowledge of the changed consumer that marketers have into creating new products. So I think CMOs are asked to step up a little bit onto this regard and do more to pivot the company. And at the same time, CEOs have to step up because, first of all, again, they are the enabler of this transformation, but most especially, in my opinion, they are also the sort of expert consultants that sit within the management room and can actually consult from a technological point of view what are the wise choices to make when, for example, we talk about integrating new tools in our existing architecture, when we talk about how we manage data within the company. All these very strategic questions cannot be answered without the support of technology. And so back to our pragmatic story of transformation, what we did at Acer was just follow 5 simple steps. So first of all, obviously we defined the strategy for what transformation meant for us in terms of short, medium and long-term strategy. And obviously we brought in the whole C-suite starting from the CEO, because in my opinion, without the CEO, transformation is a top-down thing. So without the CEO strong commitment and without the C-suite strong commitment, transformation is not going to happen. Then we start immediately building capabilities, and by building capabilities, I mean starting the tough developments, the tough activities that really change the fundamental ways our systems talk to each other and deliver their services to internal customers like me, like marketers. But at the same time, we quickly identified and delivered some quick wins, because I believe that digital transformation is a very long process, and it tends, in my experience, to lose traction within the company. Once the big announcement is made, we will do digital transformation, huge event, huge convention, a lot of enthusiasm, and then the months go along, and those who work at the digital transformation know that a lot is going on because they are working on it, but the rest of the company doesn't see anything.